Hey, I just want to say thank you for checking out this next episode in the Wong Kar-Wai series. Unfortunately, much like the past couple ones and the next one, the audio is kind of really bad because for whatever reason, the recorder I was using at the time didn't capture right, or just I don't know what was up with it. It's a piece of junk. But I think it's a pretty good conversation. I hope you enjoy it. So, yeah, thanks for checking it out. All right, so we just finished In the Mood for Love. Uh,
Now say it normally.
in the mood for love.
Normally.
In the mood for love.
Less creepy.
In the mood for love. We just watched In the Mood for Love from Wong Kar-Wai, which is book 6, movie 6 of the box set, so we're only one more to go. And before we start off the movie, once again, bad disc. So the box set is 4 for 6 of working discs, which is kind of frustratingly disappointing, but it is what it is. You want to lead on this one?
I'm a little torn on this one. I don't know if maybe it's because we took a pretty decent break between movies because I got sick, or if it's because we were both completely run ragged today. I didn't dislike the movie, but I found it to be really monotonous and really boring.
I was thinking this too. So the film is basically, it's the human connection. It's about two individuals who are neighbors who both believe that their spouses are cheating on them. What?
Our dog's moving the camera.
Liam!
He's still moving it!
Okay.
He thought
So-
he could be a director.
So, it's basically about two neighbors who
Do you think he's gonna do it again?
who basically believe that their spouses are cheating on them, and they kind of form this
With each other's spouses.
and they kind of form this platonic coalition.
They're just trying to be there for each other through it.
Yeah, but they're not trying to have like an intimate or I don't know if I want to say sexual relationship, but I
No.
guess they're kind of good friends.
I think
I
they're
suppose.
just trying to be supporting characters with each other.
Yeah, and I think where that's spoiler warning, where the film goes toward the end, where they I think they both kind of develop feelings for each other, but they don't want to be like that, I guess.
They don't want to be their spouses.
Yeah, like their turmoil. But I think the issue is we went through this box set not back to back. We've had some gaps in between. We've watched other movies in between. But when you're exploring a box set like this, regardless of I think how much, because I mean there's not been a lot of time. Like we've went through this box set at a pretty good pace.
Yeah, it's only been a couple of weeks since the last one.
Yeah, but where you're like going through a box set like this and kind of watching these movies back and back by back, or whatever you want to call it. My toenails are gross. The problem is Wong Kar-Wai in this set. He's made some other movies that aren't included in this set that are spliced in between some of these movies, but this set in particular, every movie has pretty much the same core, and it's kind of it's a little bit of fatigue now as we're reaching number 6 out of 7, where it's like, how many times are we going to present this theme, because they're kind of the same theme in every movie, but they're told in different ways, but it's kind of the same core almost every time.
See, I don't even think that. I think this one, yeah, they all have the same core, but this one had absolutely nothing else. Whereas the other ones, it's like, yeah, it's about the human connection, but also one of them's a gangster, and also one of them's a cop. This one, it's like these two people are. The entire story is just about the connection between these two people, and absolutely nothing else.
Yeah, it's the most straight-laced out of this set so far, where it's, like you said, there's nothing really heightened here. It's basically two people kind of going through this. It's set in the 60s, which we can talk about later, because there is some cool things being set in the 60s. But compared to the rest of the movies in this set, it's definitely the most straight-laced and straightforward without really any frills. And I think because we've explored these human connection themes, and because we've explored stories similar to this already in this box set, and then not having those frills or anything like that, it really kind of comes across, I wouldn't say underwhelming, because this is like one of those films, like, I think if we hadn't already spent 5 movies with similar themes with more frills, I would probably actually enjoy this one a lot more. But because we're coming into this at number 6 with all these other movies, it kind of comes off as more, I don't know, it's like, can we explore maybe a different theme, you know?
I disagree, and I guess I handle things a little differently than you. I could watch the same things over and over and over as long as it keeps my attention. I just think the fact that there was absolutely no defining characteristics with these two individuals, there was no reason to watch this movie over any other movie with a similar plot.
Yeah, I mean, the two characters are, I wouldn't say they're like underdeveloped, but they're both kind of, or at least they come off, in my opinion, kind of one-dimensional, especially considering like how deep some of the other characters have been in Wong Kar's films.
Which I do think that's a point that he intentionally made, because at one point, Mr. Chow, I believe it is, says that you kind of lose yourself when you get married, because it's all group decisions. So I do think he did it intentionally, but I also...
Not every intention comes across on film in a good way.
I do see where he is coming from, that they are in fact, they've pretty much given up everything to specifically be the spouse of to be that spouse, the supporting character for the more, I guess, I can't think of the word I'm thinking. Basically, they're the supporting character for their spouse because they are a little more ahead in the work field. But I also think that developing the character once they started realizing that they are not just a supporting character would have done so much for the story. Just to get little glimpses of personality would have done so much for the story.
Yeah, like, the whole conflict throughout the movie is basically these two supporting each other, and I wouldn't even say like really fighting off the temptation to be together, but like that element's kind of there, but it's just like, I don't know, it's like there's just so much more dynamics in his other films where this one just didn't have it, and it just kind of, I wouldn't really say it drug on, it's just like, it's pretty forgettable compared to the rest of the set so far. And it's like, it is one of those things where it's like, I think about, it's like maybe if we didn't watch 5 other movies before this that are similar, that if we would have like started with this one, I may have liked it more. But it's kind of just, it doesn't like, it looks good cinematography wise. This film is definitely shot a lot more still. There's not as much handheld motions. This choppy slow motion that we've come to know isn't as prevalent. It's super saturated, but most of the visuals doesn't necessarily come from his shot composition or his framing as it does with its awesome decor of it being set in the 60s, which is what I was saying. That's the real interesting flair that this film's bringing, is just being shot in not shot, but being set in the 60s, and it's like dress wear and decor, like interior design and stuff is all just really cool to look at, but it I don't know, it's not, it doesn't really service anything as for like the characters or the connection as a viewer to the core of the story. I mean, Yeah, I mean, I gotta be with you. Like, I definitely don't think this is a bad movie. It's just definitely outshadowed, or it's overshadowed by some of the other films.
See, I don't think it was the fact that it came later on and that we saw other movies with similar storylines. I just think there was absolutely nothing to the characters, and so I don't think it was a bad movie. I just don't think it was a good movie. I think it was very middle of the ground, nothing happening good or bad.
That's fair. I mean, that's probably close to what my score is going to reflect. Like, there's nothing in here that's, like, terrible.
No.
Like, the acting's pretty good. Like I said, the cinematography's not bad. It's not my favorite of his, but it's not bad. The music's pretty decent. It's just... And the story overall is definitely not bad. It's just
that it's literally the husk of a story.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of those ones, like, we were talking about some of the movies in this set, and, our least favorite so far has been Days of Being Wild, which we'll talk if this movie is somewhere else, if it may knock Days off its pedestal being the worst of the set for us. But, like, Days, compared to the other films, is incredibly forgettable, to where we were, like, we were talking about, because he reuses a lot of the same actors are in this film as well, and so we're like, is it this character from that? And then we were thinking about Days of Being Wild, and we were both kind of, like, trying to be like, what happens in that one? We actually really had to think about, like, how that one goes about as compared to, like, Chungking Express, Fallen Angels, As Tears Go By, Happy Together, they all still resonate pretty strong, even though I think when I was talking about Happy Together, I was a little bit more on the negative side than you were, but still much more impactful than what was going on here, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. I do agree. Days of Being Wild is a lot more forgettable. Even now, I still can't really remember much of the plot. And I honestly think this one's going to be forgettable too, but I think we're going to remember because it's literally the same storyline for every other movie.
Yeah.
Just with less details.
If we had to go back and watch, I would probably rather watch this than I would Days of Being Wild again.
I probably would too. I think it's again the same storyline, less details, but it's more clean. He's developed his style a little better. You can definitely tell the age is present in this one.
But I'm giving I'm just gonna go. This is 5.5 out of 10 for me. I think it's a little bit better than the most average movie, but it's still pretty mid.
I'd give it 5.
So where is it at on your ranking list of WK? WKW?
It's right there on the box.
Oh, it is.
Without thinking about it too much, I'd probably put it second to last.
So what's your top to bottom?
I can't remember.
No?
At this point, I don't remember a lot of the earlier movies' titles. I know it's Days of Being Wild, this one, which
In the Mood for Love.
In the Mood for Love.
I think your next was As Tears Go By.
I can't, without it actually in front of me, I can't remember my list. And I told you that before we started filming.
Well, mine would probably be number 1. I can't remember. I think I put Chungking Express though number 1, and then Fallen Angels, and then As Tears Go By, and then Happy Together, In the Mood for Love, and then Days of Being Wild. That would be my setup, which I think we're similar. If I remember right, I think yours was Happy Together is 1, then Fallen Angels, Chungking Express, As Tears Go By, in the mood for love and Days of Being Wild. Because I remember Happy Together was your top. And then, if I remember right, I think you liked Fallen Angels better than Chungking Express.
I think so, yeah.
So I think that's what your list is. I don't know, in editing. Blueberry.
No, it's blue raspberry.
Blue raspberry. It's the last of the flavors we have to try. And the next movie is 2046. It's the last movie of the box set. So we're almost done. Oh, ooh. Woo! That one's pretty sharp. You okay?
Well.
Okay, sour's gone for me now. These are actually really good candies, on all honesty.
I can't get mine to crack.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
I don't think I had any of the sour mint on mine. Well, there it is.
Mine had a lot.
So, the last one, 2046.